The economy continues to be a topic that our voters are telling us they're concerned about. You and Jordan and Mike talk to voters every single day. We learn a lot about what they care about. Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump say that large amounts of jobs were created during their administrations, but both seem to be underplaying the part of the pandemic. What do the numbers actually say?
Well, I mean, during the Trump administration, there was, from the beginning of Trump's first, when he was inaugurated in 2017, to the peak of his employment in Michigan. We're talking about Michigan alone. The state added it added 83,000 jobs. But then we had the pandemic, and the state lost 1 million jobs in just a couple of months, and we've gained back that many and a few more. It's not 700,000. We are about 50,000. If you in Michigan, if you compare the beginning of the Biden administration or the current position where we are in July to before the pandemic, it's added 50,000. It's a gain, right? And it is a substantial recovery of most of the jobs lost. We're at the largest employment workforce since 2001. So we've seen a lot of gains, but a lot of those gains were also seen during the Trump administration. And you can see both sides trying to say the same thing, blaming COVID for Joe Biden's losses or Trump's losses, and the gains both ways. So it's a mixed bag. We are better off than we were even before the pandemic, but it's not a lot. It's not 700,000.
Thanks for that. And Donald Trump often talks about crime on the campaign trail as well. Mike, you poured over the most recent FBI data. What did you find?
Well, and not just the FBI data. I mean, one of the things that's really been confounding people is they both candidates are saying something about crime. One, Trump is saying that crime is up 43% in the United States. And Harris says, most recently when the data came out last week, that violent crime is down in the country. Actually, they're both correct, but they use different measures. So in Trump's case, he's using something called a survey that is done by the Department of Justice. And rather than just count how many robberies or how many homicides they actually ask people, have you been a victim of a crime? And that measure has jumped up 43%. Now, there's problems with that survey. It's only 150,000 households nationwide. Whereas when we're looking at actual crime reports, we're looking at almost 98% of the police agencies in the nation. And those are showing that year over year, there is a decline in murders. They did, however, go up in a number of cities in Michigan. That cannot be denied. You look at Grand Rapids, it rose substantially in the pandemic, and it has, even though it's gone down, it's slowly going down. It is up in suburbs like Farmington Hills. It is up in places, Flint and others, but it's not. But in many of the places where it is up, the overall rate is not that high. So you have in Detroit, you have 200 crimes per 10,000 people, violent crimes. That's a lot. If you look at Farmington Hills, it's 17. So even though it's up a lot in Farmington Hills, the actual rate and the actual likelihood that you'll be a victim of a crime is relatively small. So these numbers give whatever position you want to take, give you an opportunity to say it. We talked to an expert who said, most people will hear these numbers, and what's their personal experience? You've had your car broken into, you're going to think crime is high. You don't know anybody who's a victim of crime, you're going to believe the comment that crime is down. So what is interesting is it seems that the Republican candidate, Trump, is saying less and less about crime, mostly pointing towards immigration. But, whenever they talk about it, they're not wrong. They just are using different data.
Well, and that's why Bridge exists, right? To contextualize the data, to fact check what's happening. On our website right now, we actually have a piece that fact checks what Walz and Vance said last night. So we're going to continue to fact check campaigns and candidates as they're on the trail.